Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle, we unite and tripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move rockin' on? Now who wanna move crossing on? Now who wanna move out on? If you got stripes, then you let the city know you rock 'em. Yeah, we got 'em.
Welcome to Bengals and Brews. I am Del Altman, joined by Big Savage Greg Luther. What's up, buddy?
Another day in paradise. How you doing today, bud?
I'm doing good. Hooday to everybody tuning in. We always appreciate the support. Greg, tell them who we're sponsored by. Hopefully Paul Dehner will be joining us here in a minute. Just waiting on him to pop in.
We are sponsored by Midwest Best Barbecue and 50 West Beer, two proud sponsors of the show. Ever since we partnered with both of them, they have just been so awesome to us. I mean, 50 West has helped us out with beer. Midwest Best has helped us out with catering. To two of our parties and all that down our tailgate. Just been so awesome to us. Kevin, long time no see. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I ain't seen Kevin in a hot minute. Chris from Jersey. Tina,
see you on Twitter. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, I joined her basketball. Now I'm in two because
you're in two now?
Yeah, Tyler Bowles sent one out. Tina sent me one, so I'm in two. I finally filled out two brackets. And Greg, you didn't even give him a chance to get set up in the background. You just pop him on immediately. You get so damn excited.
Let's go.
Sorry about that, Paul. How you doing, buddy?
Uh-oh. Can't hear you. We heard you at first. Can't hear you.
We can't.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you
now. What's up, Paul?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
What's going on? You guys hear me?
Oh, we can hear you perfectly.
Cool. What's happening?
No, not much. How are you? You gotta love the internet.
All right. My AirPods are giving me trouble, so we're ditching them. Forget it. I'm here.
Can still hear you just fine, man. So whatever works, right? All right, let's jump. Not much, man. Let's jump right into it. So, in your opinion, what would you say is the Bengals' best free agency move so far? You can't say trade and mixing. People get mad when you talk about mixing.
I know everybody gets mad anytime you mention his name. It's just part of it.
I'm in trouble now for saying.
No, I am really intrigued by Mike Gesicki. I think that he can really change a lot of what they can do offensively and just gives Joe Burrow another tool in his tool belt. I mean, plenty of respect for Tua Tagovailoa and Ryan Fitzpatrick, but when you look at the quarterbacks that Gesicki has played with, it is awful. And he's still found ways to produce. His catch radius is absurd. And when you pair that with the anticipation and accuracy that Burrow can play with, I don't care what you call him. Call him a slot receiver. Say he's the starting slot receiver. His ability to go out there and Burrow to throw the ball where only he can get it is a really incredible weapon that you can use the same way that he's able to use T. Higgins and as a red zone weapon and throwing jump balls. And we had Dan Pitcher on our podcast today, and he was talking about in the red zone the play where he goes up top as a ball when he's with Miami against Baltimore, and he basically is plucking a touchdown off the field goal post, off the crossbar. And when you can do that, and you have a quarterback with the kind of accuracy that Burrow has, that combination feels like it could be really special for Gesicki. And so I know a lot of people are like, yeah, but he can't block. I don't care. You can call him big slot, but I'm really intrigued by that. And anytime you go out there and you play a team that has a 5'10" slot corner, guess what? You're going to be pounding Gesicki inside over and over and over again and letting him take advantage. So I'm really intrigued by that.
So here's a not serious question from Crypt Keeper. Are you the narrator voice on the Reese Cup commercials?
The Reese Cup, I wish. I'd love to catch some residuals off that. I mean, that has to pay well.
Isn't that the guy who's Lego
that's a big deal. I've been to Hershey Park. That thing is huge. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm here for any piece that I can get of the Reese's merchandise system. But yeah, no, that's not me, unfortunately. If you know someone that would be willing to hire me for that, I'm on board though.
Money talks. I think it's the guy who's Lego Batman. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but I mean, that guy makes a lot of money in general. So
look, voiceover game is good. Look at all you got to do is look at the people that do voiceovers and that do like cartoon movies. They're big stars that require big checks. And they're like, this is the greatest thing ever. I show up, I talk into a microphone for a little while. I go home and collect, a movie's worth of checks. I'm here for that life if it's possible. I'm pretty sure it's not, though.
I agree. Another question here that's centered mainly around the free agency guys. So how do you think adding Von Bell and adding Geno Stone, how do you think they use all the safeties? And along with that, is Dax a potential trade candidate? Is he a dark horse trade candidate with all these safeties they've brought in?
Yeah, I think we know what the safety room looks like, at least. I mean, I think we know that Geno Stone was brought in to start. He's paid to start. He was targeted to start. He's going to. I think Jordan Battle's still going to start. I guess I'll be interested to see how that plays out, but I get a feeling that they still believe in Jordan Battle, but maybe he sits behind Von Bell for a little while. But I just think that they've got a nice setup there with those three and Tyson Anderson to feel really comfortable at safety. And Vaughn is a great, they just couldn't go into this year without an insurance policy for what went wrong. Youth is a great investment, and counting on them to take leaps from year 1 to year 2 is a solid strategy. I will buy that all day. That's proven. I agree, but also some of them don't, and they couldn't get caught in a spot where they're doing the same thing as last year, and they sort of said this, they're just not going to do that again. And if they have too many, they have too many, but they got a bunch of really football savvy and intelligent players who maybe don't have as much on the athleticism side in Bell anymore and Geno Stone, but they're going to run the right direction. They're going to know the calls. They're going to be able to be leaders back there. They're going to be enforcers in the locker room. They needed those voices. They missed those voices. So I think that you'll see them prominent. I don't know what happens with Dax Hill next. I think, I don't know how he's just definitely a dark horse trade candidate because there isn't really a spot for him. And it'd be very rare to see a team do that. Teams don't trade first round picks before their third season, hardly ever. It can happen, but I think you'd have to have some kind of a special deal fall into place. But they have a bit of excess with him and a need at defensive tackle, particularly the run stopping defensive tackle is an empty spot on the roster right now. And there's nobody, the cupboard's bare, man. Like there's nobody out there that you're going to find today that you'll feel comfortable plugging in. And so if you have a surplus at one and a deficiency at the other, I always tend to think that there's a possibility those two could solve each other. That said, I don't think that's what they want for Dax Hill. I think they want Dax Hill to maybe try slot corner.
Yeah. And Hilton's on the last year of his deal coming up.
Yeah, Mike Hilton's in his last year, and you got Dax here next year, and maybe that's who he is and should be, and has more time to not have the pressure. It's hard to say. There's been a lot of vagueness to every time we mention him, and it just feels like there's a lot of other stuff and other conversations happening below the surface here with him. That this story is not over yet.
I want to get one more, and then Greg, I'll let you get a couple in. There's the rumors and speculation out there, which that's always a fun time. That Tyler Tart asked for maybe $10 million per year for a contract. I don't know how valid that is or not. Obviously, it didn't work out with him. So It sounds like he's moved on. Do you think the money played a part at all, or was it strictly just due to like the attitude and effort, the same reasons that he seemed to get cut in Tennessee?
I never, any conversations that I heard, money never came up.
Okay.
And maybe it was, okay, they'd be willing to tolerate the BS for cheap.
Right.
But I never heard money come up. It was all about, the stuff that happened in Tennessee and just kind of the impression, the bad taste that's left in everybody. When this team has made mistakes, whether it be in the draft or in free agency or over time, even going predating Zach Taylor, it's usually been putting the hopes of talent over top of what the proven known of the person and being able to get the most. And if you're not buying into the character and you don't feel like he'll fit the personality of your locker room, I mean, unless we're talking some supreme talent, it's just not worth it in the end. And I think they viewed it that way. And I'll be interested to see where TR Tart lands.
We've heard nothing.
I'm sure there will be a team that will just buy into the fact that maybe they can get the 2022 TR Tart for a season and they can pull it out of them. But, at what cost is I think kind of the Bengals mentality on that. But to answer specifically, I don't know how much money was a factor as much as it was, this just isn't the fit that they need and the type of fit that they value.
Yeah.
Paul, my question is, I know we have the draft. I just prefer not to go to the draft thinking, we have to take a DT in the first or second round. You would like to have, we did such a good job in free agency. They did, with DJ Reader, I think they thought they were going to have him back, but maybe they just, at the end said, nah, just not worth it. What could you see a trade for a DT? Like, do you think DT will be solved before the draft?
I think that they have to be weighing creative solutions right now because the easy ones are gone. And maybe, and that could be, it could be internal. I mean, we don't really talk about Zach Carter. We don't talk about Dominic Davis. I mean, they could be part of it. I think that, you can find somebody who can essentially be Josh Tupou as your backup, but they need two defensive tackles out of this draft. They don't, but I also think outside of the Texas guys, outside of, Murphy and Sweat and a couple of others, just because it's so thin there in this draft at the top of the draft, I don't know that you can legitimately count on anyone to come in and have a major impact this year. That's troubling. You can hope, and they might have to play, but rookies at any point playing is never a great thing. So I'll say this. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do other than they're sitting down reassessing where that creative solution comes from. And, if you plug in a couple of picks and maybe they, maybe Murphy falls to them. Maybe they buy in on Sweat and say,
they double up. Zach Taylor's there, right?
He's there. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we know enough by now about Tavondre Sweat that, when he's giving it to you, like, he's a dude. He is a first round pick. It's just, are you getting 20% of the time? Are you getting his best effort? Are you getting it 60%? Is that enough? Is that a problem? And so you don't want, I'm not calling him Tyler Shelvin. That's the last thing I would do. But it's
a concern.
That can be the same conversation, right? Enticing physical giant player, but a guy who let his weight get out of control in the pre-draft process, didn't even weigh in Mobile, turning just, what did he end up weighing in Indy? A big number.
346.
Yeah. And you're just like, what are you getting there? And so I'm not surprised to see Zach Taylor in Texas, because I don't think the question is about what's on tape there. I think the question is about the person. And if they can buy in on the person, then then he can come in and he can play snaps for you and he can fill that role and you feel so much better. But beyond him, there's a lot of question marks in terms of stopping the run, that if they can help you this year, because that's just the nature of day 2 and 3, specifically at that position where it's pretty obvious if guys have the physical ability to do it or not, and those guys go high.
Yeah. We kind of talked if there's trade candidates. I mean, I've heard people mention Harrison Phillips from Minnesota. They seem like they're trying to make a move to be something, but they have no quarterback right now. He's last year of his deal. That could be a name to keep an eye on. And then the shoot for the moon to me is Derek Brown. I know he's not a true nose tackle, but he's the second best, at least per PFF, run stopping grade in the entire NFL. So, and another guy who's kind of like the 1 year of his deal. So I don't know. And that can kind of lead into the Higgins thing with that. Would a Derek Brown for T. Higgins? Is T. Higgins even on the table for the Bengals? Probably not, but.
I feel like you've been looking at my spreadsheet, because I'm trying to pull it up right now, because I've been doing the same thing you have, and the same thing that a lot of people have is like, okay, well, who are these?
Who even could we get?
Right. Who are the guys?
Yeah.
And who would be worth it? And are they better if whatever they have to trade, they trade in order to acquire that player? And yeah, Harrison Phillips certainly is a guy that makes sense just because of where Minnesota's at. They're trying to get a quarterback. He's in the last year of his deal. It would be a 1 year rental. He wouldn't be super expensive. I don't know that it would even take that much to get him.
Yeah, I don't think it would take T for him. Derek Brown's the one.
I know you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't need T for him. You'd need a middle pick, or something. I mean, it's 1 year of
pick swap, maybe a fourth.
And they have a bunch. They've done so much change on their defensive front in Minnesota that I don't know if they're interested in dealing him, but that would be where that would come from. Brown certainly makes the most sense. We know Carolina and the Bengals have talked at the very least, because Carolina has been looking for a receiver for going on 2 years now, and I've heard enough about them having interest in T. Higgins. I don't know that those conversations have lasted long, but Carolina's calling and you'll always pick up. So yeah, I mean, would that take T. Higgins to trade 5th year option problems, essentially franchise tag for 5th year option? If they don't think that they can get a deal done with Derek Brown and the Bengals know they can't get a deal done, maybe the Bengals would be willing to get a deal done with Derek Brown that they wouldn't do with T. Higgins. Like if you're talking about those scenarios, that's what it would take. Now, the question I would pose to you, to anyone thinking about that, is, are you better? Do they have a better chance of winning the Super Bowl in 2024 with Derek Brown than they do with T. Higgins?
Because you almost need the draft pick if you were to trade T, to me, to get one of these at least high-ish, prospects at wide receiver. That's the hard part.
Do the Bengals come out of this and feel like they leave they're in, the end of April, May, and they feel like they just don't have a defensive tackle that's worthwhile? The draft didn't fall their way. Does Carolina come out of the draft and feel like they just didn't get the receivers that they wanted, and it didn't, and then maybe it changes the conversation? I'm always open to the Bengals doing something out of character these days, because they do act out of character more often than in the past. But this would be extremely out of character. I just think more than anything, they believe truly that their best chance of winning the Super Bowl is with Jamar and T and Joe Burrow over all else. And if they have that they can go win it. And I don't necessarily disagree with that, despite the problems that they have. So what do? I mean, I don't know. Creative solutions require creative answers. So I don't know how all that works or what the trade would have to be. There's a bunch of names out there that you could try to target, but I don't foresee a big swing that would entail giving up T. Higgins, because I do think
agree.
they view him as one of the reasons they can win the Super Bowl. And if you extract him, one of the reasons they won't.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. I want to do a run, pass, or boot. It's a big
Yes.
thing on your
All
show,
right.
the Growler now.
Let's do it.
You've got Jay Morrison back, all of that. So what position do you think could still be added in free agency? Run, pass, or boot? Cornerback, defensive tackle, or I'll throw in wide receiver since we've got the potential slot and the T. Higgins, all that out there.
Yeah, I'll boot wide receiver. I think the receiver room is really well constructed right now, minus one of these day 2 receivers, of which there are a million really good ones that they'll have their pick of. Whatever they feel like they want, they can basically get just because of the quantity there. So I like that structure, that 6. So wipe them off. Corner, I think corner. Yeah, I would probably run with corner because I do think there's a veteran in there. Now, it may not be a name that's going to make anybody jump for joy, but I think it's somebody who can come in and compete with DJ Ivy. Think Sidney Jones plus that can come compete and be a solid veteran if injuries happen that's played. I think in my mock 53, I brought up Christian Fulton from Tennessee, LSU guy, really tight with Jamar Chase. Like maybe you can get a little more out of him. Talented, athletic dude who fell out of favor there and didn't play super well, but maybe a change of scenery helps him. Think that level.
Yeah, he's visiting
a few of those. I mean, there's still, probably 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 corners at that lower level that would be backups that you could bring in. And so I would say that, just because I don't see a lot of defensive tackles out there that I think are necessarily worthwhile or any good. So I'd put corner above defensive tackle, but you could see either.
Yeah, and I think Fulton is visiting the Chargers today. It was reported yesterday, and then some other names like Adoree Jackson, I think it is. I don't know if that excites anybody. He's been good throughout his career. Didn't have a good year last year. A few years ago wasn't very good, but I mean, in between he was good, and before that he was pretty good. So that's a name. Steven Nelson, I don't know if they'd go that high, and then Gilmore, I think, is just a little too old, but I do think there's at least a veteran corner that would make a lot of sense more than anything.
Yeah, and not saying that guy would make the team, because if you still if Ivy ascends and they like him and you draft 1 or 2, I think following the mold of the last 2 years where they've gone corner in round 2 is on the table. I don't think it's off the table completely in round 1. Like, I mean, because are you counting on DJ Turner there for sure? I think you love DJ Turner and there's a foundation there, but they've been pretty aggressive in trying to fix this secondary this year, but they haven't necessarily gone for corner yet outside of whatever's happening with Dax Hill. So I don't wipe corner off the board in any of the first 2 days of the draft. And in fact, I think it's a decent priority that they get one before they get to Saturday in the draft. And the extra comp pick really helps with that because they have those other needs. But I think when you add the 4th pick, that 97 overall, 97, 80, 49, I think are all in play to add a corner and continue to restock that room.
Now, one thing with DJ Ivy, is he expected to be ready? I know it was like an ACL late in the season. So my concern, and we saw with Awuzie that he wasn't really ready. Like, he didn't look like Chidobe Awuzie until midway through the season and on, that he started kind of regaining form to me. So I think that's why it's a big need as well. And have you heard any progress on Ivy?
No, I mean, I think it'll be easier for us to know once players get back into the building in May, because right now they're out of sight, they're out of mind. Even a lot of people aren't talking. The only people they're really working with are really the training staff and stuff like that. So it's pretty quiet in that regard. And you're still early on in ACL to be able to say anything for sure. So I think look for, I would look for, sometime in the middle of the summer to have a better feel for where he's at. But again, you're not counting on him. In all likelihood, he's competing, but he's also an inactive on Sunday if all is okay. And that's fine. So I don't, I don't think that there's a extreme push. They like his development. They liked what he was doing. I don't think they fourth corner liked him.
Right.
I think maybe fifth corner competition liked him in what he was doing. And so, but intrigued by what it would look like after another year. You never know. Some of these corners, man, especially the ones like Ivy, who came out really raw but had all the athletic tools, and you saw that in the preseason.
The length, man, was crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, the one that he had at the Get Back Together, whatever the heck they're calling it, Saturdays. He had the great pick there that was really instinctive. I think that's the type of play that a guy can in year 3 develop into a real guy if you're the type that can make that play as a rookie and you're just learning the game. So I think that's kind of where their hope is. But I don't think they're counting on him to solve any problems at the top of the depth chart.
Hey, Paul, I'm curious. Tyler Boyd still out there. The longer you're out there, the more your price goes down. Could you see a reunion if he doesn't find what he's looking for out there?
I don't think so. I think it's kind of. I think it was time for both sides, and I don't see TB coming back here in what would probably be a backup role. I don't think TB would beat out a second rounder, a third round rookie, or Charlie Jones. Whatever happens with that competition at slot, just because they really want more explosiveness. I mean, it's been this theme that they're really relentless with this offseason, and that's everything is about building more explosiveness, whether it was the running back decision, whether it's been what they've done they're gonna do at receiver, what they did with Gesicki, every decision has seemed to kind of have that thing. And so I think adding more speed, think Jaden Reed, think Tank Dell, adding a little bit more juice out of the slot and less of the savvy. And they want both, obviously, but I think just if really focusing on a little bit more explosiveness out of that position is something that they want. And it's there. Like, the draft just sets up so nicely for it that's you got to think that that's kind of the direction they're thinking.
Yeah, and then Austin here is asking about linebacker. I think with bringing Davis Gaither back and you got your 2 starters, I don't personally see that as a big need. Shaka Hayward was one of their priority undrafted guys. They could still bring back a Joe Bocci or somebody. Maybe linebacker, if anything's a late round, if you still keep all those 6th and 7th round picks. Would you agree? They
have 4 picks beyond 194.
Yeah.
That screams special teams linebacker to me. I mean, give me your Marcus Baileys. Give me, it's like you've seen this pick. And those are really, they're nice players. I mean, like that. If you find somebody who is an excellent college special teamer, and Darren thinks this guy can really play special teams, that guy's going to contribute to your team. And if you can find somebody with the 4, 6, or 7th round picks that can contribute to your team and be Marcus Bailey for the next 4 years, it's exactly
Marcus
what
Bailey
you're looking for. And Marcus Bailey's not re-signed yet, so like you're always looking to recycle that. And I think that all those extra picks, I mean, that's the first thing I thought when I was kind of going through it, was like,
special
God,
teams.
One of these guys is definitely going to be a special teams linebacker. There's just it almost is too perfect for the type of player you find at this spot.
All right, got 2 quick things. I know you got to get out of here, so we'll do these quickly. Do you think they consider any other position besides offensive tackle at 18? Really consider. I mean, it's always on the table, but really consider besides offensive tackle with this class after the Trent Browns.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're always considering. I mean, but when you put the big board together, I think it's defensive tackle, and then it's a bunch of these offensive tackles, all of those guys with a smattering of,
Marvin Harrison Jr.
from Toledo, Terry and Arnold from Alabama, are scattered in there, but behind the tackles probably. And I think the idea that all of the tackles they really like are gone feels unlikely. And I think they'd sprint for Murphy. And I don't know. Johnny Newton's a weird one because you have the Jones fracture, and he's
I like him,
built a little different. And I think Murphy checks more of the boxes for them, but I don't know. Like I think that they're in the equation for sure, but I don't tackle is resoundingly like if you were, since it's pie season, right? We were in Duke Tobin pie season. I mean, for me, the pie is like 80% offensive tackle with like a 10%
D
Byron
tackle.
Murphy somehow slides, Newton, whatever. Maybe they love him and it's a secret right now. And then the 10% one of the corners. I just feels too likely and too nice of a fit for the tackles to hit them. For that's not where it ends up.
Yeah. And then is Brad Robbins our starting punter next year, or is it just a camp competition? I'll let you go with specialists because we love our specialists.
Oh, I love it. I mean, let's go. Give me the stopwatch. Let's go get some hang time on. I don't think he's the starting punter. I think that they're looking, and there's always a free agent punter who's just hanging out. I mean, it's just what they do. So there will be competition for sure. Maybe they draft another guy. I don't know. It's like they've gone down this young punter road a couple of times. That are they going to do that again, or do they prefer Robbins battling a veteran? I know that they're looking at the veteran punters, and that's probably the more likely route. But again, 4th, 6th, and 7th round picks is certainly an opportunity to take a punter in this draft and have the best man win between him. I think they like Robbins. They'd be okay with him. They want to push him at the very least. He has to be better. Whoever's punting next year has to be better than Brad Robbins was last year. And if that's Brad Robbins, then good. I think they have some hope that he can be better. But there's going to be competition there.
No, don't bring that one up. They should have got him. That was one of the moves I was mad about. They should have got Tommy Townsend, but
they tried. I think they were in the mix on that. I mean, it's just at a certain point.
They were trying to figure out the pie at the time, and the pie.
Yeah, you're working on the pie.
There was so much left.
And Tommy's like, what do I want to do? Do I want to go kick in a dome in Houston, or do I want to go to one of these northern cities? Like,
that's a good point.
I think dome life is pretty strong for the punters.
Yeah. All right, Paul. I'm sure everybody knows where they can find you, but plug your stuff, please, sir, and we'll let you out of here.
Yeah, obviously still crushing at the Athletic. We're doing all the stuff. I got my mock draft 1.0 tomorrow coming out, where we go through all 7 rounds, which is off of our beat writer mock draft. So that's going to be up. It was a fun exercise to do. And the Growler is the new podcast. You can find us on YouTube, The Growler, anywhere you get your podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, you name it. We're on all of them. 3 episodes a week. It's myself, Dave Ninemitz, and Mo Egger on Mondays. Me and Jay back together on Wednesdays. And then Who Dey Light with Mark Shalafo on Fridays, where we kind of have a little more fun with it. And so all those are cranking, and you can follow on Twitter right here at Paul Dehner Jr. still on Twitter, X, whatever we're doing these days.
All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate your time.
Have a good one. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Paul, glad we could chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Derek. See ya. Yeah, Derek. I was just hearing the road. So.
Right. I'm like, oh no.
That was that was rough. And now I am, when I saw you had me muted, I assumed that's what it was anyway. But
yeah, he was talking and I heard the road. So I was like,
well, and I didn't want to come in late anyway and then start asking questions that you guys had already asked. So I just decided best thing for me to do is what I always do, keep my mouth shut, right?
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, the thing I got away from that interview, Paul said, get creative with the defensive tackle. I mean, it sounds like he didn't want to say anything, but it sounds like don't be surprised if they try to pull off a trade or something. That's what I got off the most out of that interview.
Well, it just seems like, D tackle, and it would make a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
You still got money. So if you can give up a 4th or 5th round pick even, and you can land a Harrison Phillips or a pick swap. Let's say we'll give up our 3rd round pick 97. We'll move back with your 4th rounder or whatever.
Right.
And the reason I could see Minnesota doing this, they're trying to get as many picks as possible because they're trying to move up for a quarterback. Same reason they traded with the Texans for an extra first-round pick already.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So they need picks and they need draft capital because they're wanting to move up into that top 4.
No, exactly. So, like I say, it takes 2 to tango and all that and stuff. So I'm all cool with that and stuff.
All that and stuff, baby. You heard it here first. Yep. I seen somebody ask when we had Paul on, which it made me chuckle, if we were going to be talking about butt stuff. And I couldn't post that up because then I would have to explain it to Paul, and we only had him for 30 minutes. It would have just taken too long. But I did appreciate the comment. And I think it was Jolly that replied to the comment, and he said, just be patient. There'll be plenty of butt stuff later. So speaking of butt stuff.
Especially Friday night.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to post it up and be like, yeah, that's the Goodberry Brothers on Friday when it starts at 7 on a Friday night with those two.
Yeah.
With those two degenerates. I think Greg
so what
left.
We got? What
no, I didn't leave. I'm here.
Greg, Dale, Arrow, all of us are faceless right now.
Well,
not that I know, because I'm
there you go, Greg. Greg, you're the face of the show. I go off the show every time around this.
Yeah, you know me and all that. But you know what? Another thing I got away from that interview, Tyler Boyd, because I was thinking to myself, well, Tyler Boyd's still out there, maybe cheap, but even when Tyler Boyd was in his prime, he never had the speed. And like what Paul said, they want to get more explosive, faster receiver. Same deal kind of with Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon, great running back, but he never had that explosive speed. And that's what Zach Moss brings to the table. So that I found quite interesting. And he sounds pretty confident they're going to take a receiver in rounds 2 through 4, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, with Moss, he can break one out for 20, and it seems like with Joe, he would always break one out for 12. So,
right, exactly.
It seems like he always got caught from behind.
Exactly. He'd always just when he had that go, it was like the last second, man, he would like trip or something. And Joe was still a great, valuable asset for us, but just never.
Absolutely, you don't get 1,400 yards by accident.
No, not at all, not at all. I mean, this is something I just wanted. I wanted to do the committee running back the last 2 years, and that's exactly what I wanted. So, I'm happy for Joe, and I wish him nothing but the best in Houston.
Yeah.
Chris here says, can't bring up the butt stuff without Chop. It's just not the same.
No.
Wait, ask where Chop is. He might pop in. He's a little tired. His daughter's been in the hospital. Some things going on. He put that on Twitter so I can finally, at least speak on it. So give all your positive thoughts and vibes. Just having some things going on, been a little rough. Temperature staying at 103 for 2 or 3 days, but I think she's finally starting to turn the corner. The last we heard, so we love Chop. Obviously, he's a good guy. He comes. Speaking of the devil, he's wore out as can be, but we do love the man, and here he is himself. So all the good vibes to the Chopster, and I like that hat too.
Awesome hat, bro.
Yep.
St. Taddy Day.
There you go.
Oh. St. Taddy Day.
There you go.
Yeah, Greg didn't have one, so that's the first time we got to see,
Greg's a fucking pussy.
one from the event.
Could have got a tattoo, Greg.
Some prayers up,
Thank you,
brother.
Wade. Thank you, Matt. Thank you to everybody. Everybody on Twitter and everything else. Hopefully she's doing good. They took her off the fluids and gonna make her start eating so that hopefully she can come home. I mean, it ain't gonna happen today, but beard trim. I did not get my beard trim, Matt. Still full. Although I am gonna pay a guy at work to trim it up. He's a barber.
Still sexy AF.
Oh, I know that's right, Arrow. I'm gonna see myself naked here very shortly when I'm getting ready.
That's my dream right there.
Any news, Greg? I see you looking for it.
Yep, no news.
Oh, so what's been going on here? I popped in earlier, but I popped into Friday's show that we're having at 7:00 first. I went into the wrong show.
Oh, just dropping some knowledge with Jay.
I did
want to say I was going to say when you guys was talking about defensive tackle and offensive tackle being drafted with the first pick, and that seemed to be the most likely spot. I said that's a lot of man meat right there, and then I looked down and I happened to see I was muted, so I was like, well.
Well, apparently, yeah, Paul. I'm like Jay. I know you meant Paul and all that. So, but no.
Did I say Jay?
Yeah, you said Jay. No big deal, bud.
Say Jay.
Oh, damn it.
Hey, you pulled off a Greg right there, Derek. It happens.
I did.
But no. He sounds. Like I say, I'm not going to get mad if we go offensive line. But you've noticed he wasn't that sold on Newton. It's like me and Dale. I think all of us here are really sold on Newton. But am I going to get mad if we take Murphy? Absolutely not.
No.
And like you heard what Jay said, we need 2 defensive tackles, and you're not guaranteed. It's such a thin class. You're not guaranteed 2 defensive.
You also just said Jay.
Damn you!
You got him, Arrow. Hey, let me.
Got him.
So I don't know what you guys were talking about when you're talking about the D line. What did you guys ask Paul at all about the possibility of not having a nose tackle?
Yeah, we brought that up. I literally
just a response to that.
I literally said I do not want to go to the draft with like the defensive tackle situation we're in right now. And he pretty much said, this is where you creative. Like, do you go internal with Tupo or Davis? And like he just said, like, what do the Bengals think? And obviously, Paul was definitely not. Didn't sound like he was for that, but. He said you may have to get creative. Tier Tart was brought up. From what he said, from what he heard, money was never really an issue or anything. It was just the off the field, like why the Titans got rid of him. Look at the Titans. They signed another guy, Sebastian Day, clearly not as good as Tart. Or like you look at all these other defensive tackles that are getting signed right now that are Tart's a lot better. There's a reason why Tart's not getting signed right now. So, what Paul basically said was, do they get creative here? Who knows? So it'd be interesting to see.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, what if we already have that defensive line? What if we're not going to use a nose tackle? Because not every team in the league uses a nose tackle.
Well, whether you use a nose tackle or not, Chop, you still need 2 more tier defensive linemen.
Well, okay, but what I'm saying is everybody's worried about that nose tackle because who do we got? You got Tier Tart, right? And then you go to the draft, you got a Trevonde Sweat, right?
Right.
I mean, but other than that, who's your big run stopper? Who's your big plug in the middle?
Chop, that's a good question. By the way, he brought up.
You could go into that draft at pick 18. It wouldn't be a reach for Johnny Newton or Byron Murphy.
Exactly, and
they're not a nose tackle, but if you put them on the line with Miles Murphy, Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, B.J. Hill, you know what I mean? That sounds good.
No, I get what you're saying. And by the way, Sweat, he said, I don't want to make, Paul, I'm sure you listened to this, Derek. Paul said, I don't want to make any comparisons or anything, but, is he another Tyler Shelvin? Because he did not weigh at the combine. I don't think he even weighed at his pro. I guarantee you, because he even said, as we all know, Zach Taylor's down to Texas Pro Day. What a shocker that is right there with all those players. But, I think, he said, look, Zach didn't go down there because of the game tape or anything. He went down there to talk to him personally to see him, talk to him personally. Like, is this someone I could take a chance on the second round? Because another thing about Sweat is I think, like, he doesn't give 100% on every effort.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'm not trying to brag, but you mean that guy? Oh, yeah.
Zach Taylor, your best
friend.
My
buddy Zach. That's right.
Yeah, we were talking about how Paul was saying he's not going to compare him to Sweat to Shelvin or anything, but could he, like you said, he went down to the Texas Pro Day just to have a talk with Sweat.
He's like, I'm not comparing him to Shelvin, but.
Well, it's one of the reasons that I have him as the 3rd round prospect. Like, he's top of the 3rd round. I mentioned that in our draft guide. Get our draft guide if you want it. Message me. It's a lot. I'll email it to you.
It is a lot.
You need to get updates, and you're donating it to charity. But anyways, I have him as an early 3rd for that reason. He's a 2-down player, and even with Reeder, as great as he was, he still played 40 or so percent of the snaps typically, you know? And you need two of them. So Sweat is not just the answer in general. And there's guys they can draft, Christian Boyd, Evan Anderson, later round guys, Kenley Jackson. You know, I have him as a 4th round guy. So.
Yeah. Dale, this is what I was telling Greg when you were gone, but
I was on the phone trying to plan a birthday party for next weekend.
Okay. What about the possibility of not even having a nose tackle this year?
Yeah, I mean, you can do it. I mean, you don't have to have a true one. I do like, and me and Greg kind of talked about this yesterday, that on the back end where they've gotten better. So, you know, a lot of times last year we were giving up the big play on the back end and getting gashed in the run game, even with DJ Reader. And I'm not saying you're not going to miss DJ Reader. I mean, we gave up 30 more yards per game rushing, you know, without him than with him. So he's definitely going to be missed without having that run stuffing presence. But hopefully you're not doing both, right? You're not getting gashed in the run game and still giving up the big plays in the pass game. Now that you've got Von Bell, Jordan Battle another year, Dax Hill, you're moving around, and Geno Stone, who had 7 interceptions. So and that's why I would like to see him bring in another veteran corner here still before free agency ends.
Eli Apple didn't get signed while I was sleeping?
Nope.
No. And there's other guys, right? There's Xavier Howard, who got cut from the Dolphins. There's Stephon Gilmore. There's Steven Nelson, Dory Jackson. Christian Fulton was mentioned, but he's visiting the Chargers. Probably going to sign there, I would imagine. But, you know, there's still names out there. And Lou, that's his background as cornerback. So you hope he can get the best out of a veteran like he did with Eli Apple when he was here.
Who was it?
Who was it?
Yeah. Sorry, I
Yeah.
so
now
who
we'll
was
go around
the guy
we'll go around the horn.
that-
Start with you, Dale. Who was it?
It was John Holmes.
John Holmes. Greg, who was it?
It was somebody.
I'm going with Marilyn Manson. Who got it right?
Who was right, Eric?
Man, Marilyn Manson right there.
Son of a
it was
bitch.
Sidney Sweeney.
Damn, Chop.
Man, it's
Sidney
all that
Sweeney.
rest I've had not doing the show. I come in fresh, man. I come
Clear
in
mind.
fresh. I come in fresh.
Yeah. Go ahead, Derek.
It was
Whoa.
Sidney Sweeney, honestly.
No,
No,
How did you not
Well,
get that, Greg?
I should.
Look at him. He's so disappointed.
yeah.
When Anthony Cosenza quote tweeted your tweet about Eli Apple, I forget the player he was talking about.
Dory Jackson. It was Jackson.
Yeah, that's who I mentioned.
Okay.
And that's whose
Yeah,
grades that I
couldn't-
put up. Like, over his career, he's been pretty good. He didn't have a good year last year. And the year before, he was pretty good. But the year before that, he also didn't have a good year. But the other 4 years or whatever he had been in the league were all in the 70s. So, like, I think it was like 4 out of the 6 years he's in 70 or higher graded cornerback. It's not bad.
Yeah.
But last
Yep.
year was concerning, you know,
And Luke
and he
is
is going to be 29. So, but you still want a veteran. Like, I'm not against it. I'm not against it.
Yeah,
And
no,
Eli Apple, we talked about yesterday, Greg. His run defense was really good. So as far as like his coverage grade wasn't very good, but the run defense was like one of the best guys in the league. At least graded out per PFF, not to be all end all. Always say that. I hate that I always have to
Yeah,
preface
right.
that. But
Well, Dale, the way Paul explained it, it sounds like they may wait till after the draft to get a free agent. Because what if there's someone in the draft they like? Because, like, let's face it, there's like what 8 or 9 corners that we would be okay with, and chances are some of them might be there till after the draft. So maybe you just wait it out after the draft. If there's a corner you like in rounds, even round 1, I've said this. It would not be crazy if we took a corner in the first round.
But I think we need to go veteran because
I'm
we've
cool with
got CTB and DJ Turner's only going into his second year.
Right.
So kind of like what we did with safety, we went with 2 veterans, right?
Right.
So even if it is Apple, whoever it is at corner, I think it should be a veteran instead of another draft pick because there's no guarantee that draft pick is going to be ready to give you any significant snaps even halfway through the year. So, I mean, that's my thought process. Get a veteran. Get a veteran corner. You know, D-tackle market is dried up. You still got money. You can use it somewhere. Why not use it on a cornerback? And that's one less thing you even consider in round 1 or 2 if you get a decent veteran in here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we don't need
Does anybody have the numbers? How much we got left?
Well, the Trent Brown numbers never came out, but before Trent Brown, we had like 26 million.
Yeah.
Tyron Smith got 6.5 million. Trent Brown at most probably got 6 or 7 million.
He got like around 6.5.
We still probably have 18, 19, 20 million dollars in cap space.
Right, and is that counting?
Cap space.
Is that counting for the draft picks also?
Yes,
I was
that's already
say, so
all built in.
Even if you took the Butch Hobson approach, where he says every year they like to say back 10 or 15 million, that's still 2 or 3 significantly good or decently good signings.
I don't think they're done, and maybe part of that's used in a trade, like we were saying. I think Harrison Phillips that plays nose tackle, if Minnesota's wanting the more picks, like we talked about, I think his salary is like $8.5 million. If they're willing to, take your end of the third round pick and you're giving them your fourth rounder, or you're moving back to the fourth round or the fifth, whatever you have to do there, to where you still have the picks, or you work something out. You give them a sixth rounder, and you give them your third rounder, and they give you their fourth rounder, let's say. So you've still got a fairly high pick there in the fourth round from the Vikings, but you gave up your third rounder that they can use to help trade up for a quarterback. And you gave them a sixth rounder because you have so many damn picks, you're not going to use them all anyways. It's a thought. And you get Harrison Phillips, who starts for you at nose tackle from day one.
There you go. I mean, it looks like a win-win right there.
Is the reason that you don't work for them is because the commute's 2 hours?
Yeah. They've offered me a job so many times, and I'm like, listen, it's 2 hours away. My kids are still in school. Maybe here in a few years I'll work for you in Cincinnati.
Well, I can't wait till that time. I hope it fucking happens soon before I die. That way we can get a trophy.
My ego is not that big, man. I am not that smart.
No, I would. But I'm just saying what you say makes sense. Sounds good. I mean, I'm on board. You sold me. I'm buying a ticket. Let's go.
Well, that's because I give you hand jobs every now and then.
Well, that's true.
That
is. You know what? Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I'm not that
probably
smart.
Right. They're probably the hand jobs.
Just good at hand jobs.
I mean, you can tell me anything you want while I'm getting a hand job.
My dog's barking. I'll be right back.
Oh, make sure you take care of him.
Yeah.
To talk about hand jobs, Greg comes right back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, what else, man? I missed all week.
No, what else? Yeah, that's right. We signed Trent Brown, by the way.
Dude. How ridiculous. That guy looks bigger than Orlando. I mean, I know he is bigger than Orlando Brown, but he looks even like taller in some of the pictures.
No, Chop, the main question is, are we going to be seeing a T-shirt at the Chop Shop soon?
You might.
The Brown.
I'm taking ideas. What T-shirt should I make?
Well, one guy, Derek, I don't know if you were
I like
Brown-tins. Brown-tins.
The brown, like mountains, the brown mountains.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's something to think of. Chop, man, I'm like, man, I got to talk to Chop about this. Obviously, I didn't want to bother you about it for other things. But, yeah,
right.
No, I mean, dude, that would be money, bro.
Well, I did real quick before I went to work yesterday. I just made that real quick thing on Photoshop, that real horrible edit.
I saw that, yeah.
With Mike Brown, and then the two Browns, and then Trent Brown and Orlando Brown behind him.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. That's pretty elite. You have to go to my Twitter. Pork Chop 1972.
You mean the Browntons? The Browntons?
No, I made the Brown and Brown security.
I know, I saw it, but I'm also saying Fiji the other day said
I'm loving
Fiji. That's who it was.
Fiji is the one that said it. I'm loving the thought of taking Mount Rushmore and photocopying the two Orlando Brown and Trent Brown's faces in them. The Browntons.
Ooh.
The Browns.
Just 2 instead of 4?
Yeah, just do 2 of the 4.
Well,
cut it off.
Their heads are so big.
Why don't we just put the Browns on the corners, and in the middle we can put Mike Brown and Chase Brown.
There you go.
There you go.
All the Browns.
Yeah, it's going down.
Elite.
With the Browns.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Jolly. I gave credit to Fiji. Damn it, Jolly. I'm sorry. I even put it on Twitter.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Jolly.
Oh man,
Jolly. I even said
trademark pending.
Now you got to retract that statement and make a
do.
public apology.
I do. Jolly, do you have a Twitter, an X, whatever? It's Twitter. We are, yeah.
Twix. Twitter X.
I'll tag you and publicly apologize for my error. And Chop owes you a hand job.
Kane says that you never did touch his penis, and he still thinks the Vikings trade's a good idea. See?
Wow.
Maybe it's not just a hand job. Although, Kane, it's highly recommended.
Yeah. Who's going to turn that down?
Right.
Derek never has. That's why I ride with him all the time.
Exactly.
To the games.
Top tier.
Yeah. Oh. That's why when you got out of the car that time.
Why do you think we let the women drink so much? Because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, why don't you just be drunk and take a nap on the way home? I'll sit up front with Derek.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Little do they know that up front there, 5-knuckle shuffle's going strong.
I'm not gonna lie, Sarah never lets me sit up front. The only time I sit up front is when Derek gets drunk and Sarah drives. Because if Derek's drunk and Sarah has to drive, Derek is not gonna help navigate. Derek starts saying,
I did one time.
turn left, turn right, turn left.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
He's like, Derek, shut the fuck up.
It's because of all that redneck fucking NASCAR with that left turn shit. Turn left, turn left.
Paul Dehner. So Crypt asked Paul Dehner's question. Do you think Paul Dehner sounds like the Reese Cup commercial narrator?
I don't know what he sounds like because I'm not gonna lie, man. I was asleep. I've read his stuff, but I was sleeping. I don't.
Wow.
I don't
You
know.
don't
Another
even-
thing
you
we
don't
learned-
even watch- you don't even listen to
Good
the
thing
growler.
is, if you missed it, you can go back on YouTube
There you go.
and you can rewatch the Paul Dehner portion. Even if that's all you want to watch, because everybody knows that Paul Dehner is way more important than we are.
And you can leave
Just
a
watch
comment.
that portion of it.
You can leave a comment
Yep.
like creep.
Creep.
Crip. That was a Freudian slip there. Crypt Keeper, who talks about Derek's wife being hot. You can leave a comment
Right.
about how hot Sarah is.
Well, Chop, do you want to fill you on any more? Or do you want to go back and watch it again? Do you want to fill you on anything more?
No, go ahead and fill me in, man.
Dax Hill was brought up, and I think this is a reasonable conversation. Should Dax Hill be a trade candidate? He says
Dark horse.
Sorry, he said he doesn't sound like he says you rarely see them any team trade your first round pick after 3 years. He didn't say no, but I think he says the Bengals value Dax a lot. You got to think, for the future with Hilton being on the last year of his contract. But he didn't say absolutely no, but he didn't say absolutely yes. So I still think they value Dax a lot.
He said he's a dark horse candidate.
Yeah.
Fiji here asked about, and we have not discussed anything. We have Paul Dehner on the first half an hour. Nothing Latham related. So he didn't test at the combine. Then he also didn't do the testing at his pro day today at Alabama. So a lot of people are like, oh shit. They're like, with all these athletic tackles, maybe he didn't think he'd test as well, this, that, and the other. I still think tape is king, and he's a really good player. I'm not too concerned about Latham, but I guess you at least have to mark it right as an unknown. You don't know what he would test as. But the Bengals have never really given a shit about having the most athletic guys either. Orlando Brown, what was his RAS score? Like a 2? A negative?
Oh my God,
2?
it was horrible.
Yeah.
And he's been pretty good. It was bad. Yeah. His RAS score was really bad.
Does anybody know when or if Georgia's pro days happened already?
I am not sure.
I think it happened.
I think it did. I don't know if Brock Bowers tested or not. If it did, I don't know. It's a good question.
That's what I was going to ask, because I wanted to know if I was right on that, because if he, bulked up for the weigh-in portion of the draft or of the combine, and then he went back down so he could do the.
They did have theirs. It was March 13th.
Yeah, and I never seen a RAS score, so I don't think he did the testing there either. That's what I mean. Everybody's coming at Marvin Harrison especially, but there's a lot of guys that aren't doing it. Now, the ones that know they're going to test, and Marvin Harrison said he's not doing it just because he's training for the season. He's not worried about going out here and putting up certain.
Plus, he doesn't have to prove to anybody that he's the number. He doesn't have to prove to anybody that he's the number 2 receiver in this draft.
You shut your dirty mouth.
He does not have to participate in the pro day. Everybody knows Marvin Harris is a solid number 2 receiver in this draft, so there's no reason for him to have to test.
You know who else hasn't tested?
Injury.
You know who else didn't even weigh in or measure or anything at the combine? Malik Neighbors.
That's because they were doing solidarity over there. That's the same reason Jaden Daniels didn't throw at the combine.
Solidarity from what?
They're sticking together over there, Dale.
Jaden Daniels weighing 200 pounds flat as a quarterback?
Don't read into it.
Malik Neighbors being 5'11"? Is that what you're saying?
Malik Neighbors can be 5'11". It don't matter. He's a master at his craft.
And I think Marv would have tested well. Like everything like from Ohio State previously said, he's like potentially could run in the 4.3s. I just don't think he gives a shit.
They don't call him Maserati Marv for nothing.
He's good. Malik Neighbors is good. That's the thing. Malik Neighbors in my top 10 overall. Yeah. I think he's very good. Rome is in my top 10, I'm pretty sure. I mean, there's 3 really good receivers at the top. Then you got Brian Thomas, Adonai Mitchell. Like, you got some dogs at receiver that are probably going. And you know it, Crip. Homer.
Oh, yeah.
I think everybody in the top 17 should take, a quarterback or a wide receiver or an edge or a running back or, just let those picks fall to us.
Yeah. J.J. McCarthy, definitely. That's what I'm saying. Vikings straight up and get him. If they don't, people are speculating New England might trade out, and then that leaves Jaden Daniels or Chop's other team would be the Vikings then. Justin Jefferson and Jaden Daniels?
My hope is just to make sure Jaden Daniels goes to the NFC. Caleb Williams can come to the AFC. I'm not worried about him.
Maybe Washington will take Daniels second. That wouldn't shock me. I would. I'm higher on Daniels than I am Drake May.
Yeah.
I just think he's more accurate and obviously gives you more in the run game. But Drake May is sneaky athletic / white. That's what you say when they're white. Joe Burrow's sneaky athletic.
Sneaky AF athletic.
What else you guys want to talk about? Butt stuff? Because people were wanting butt stuff when we had Paul on. And then other people were like, can't do butt stuff without pork chop.
Oh, well, Paul's a good-looking man. I give you guys permission to do butt stuff when I'm not here. Just let me know about it. That way I can watch it later.
Well, I wasn't going to do butt stuff when, if Paul had an hour, butt stuff probably would have naturally came into the conversation.
That's probably right. You guys had to condense it and get the stuff out about, the Bengals.
Had we had time had we had time to do both in a half an hour, we would have. I would have told him about sticking my fingers in Greg's butt.
Oh, yeah. Shit, I just did that the other day. Well, at St. Taddy's Day.
Yeah, I know.
He got a finger in the
ass.
ass.
That's something. Chop. Let's hear your St. Taddy's Day experience.
Yeah. Right after you read this comment of Fiji, who I gave fake credit for.
J.J. McCarthy will have a better career in the NFL than Jaden Daniels. Well, you're fucking... God damn, I want to encourage everybody that watches this show. What'd you say?
No, you're triggered. Go. Continue.
Oh, I'm just saying. I want to encourage everybody that watches this show, man. Nancy Reagan had the shit right. Crack is whack. Quit fucking smoking crack, Fiji. Fucking J.J. McCarthy's going to have a better career than Jaden. Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in this draft, and you'll fucking see.
You guys should.
Jaden Daniels makes me sad that I'm going to have to root for another team at the same time.
All right, Chop. Tell us about your experience being famous as you are. That's what I told people the first couple of days while you weren't on here is because you were famous now.
Well, that's true. So the news came in there, and they were looking around, and they found the best looking motherfucker at the place. They were like, you know what we need? Ratings. They said we need fucking ratings. Channel 9 was like
clicks, views, yeah.
Channel 9 was like, their books came back. They get quarterly books to see what the ratings are, and they're like, well, this ain't great. What the fuck? Here it is, Channel 9's thinking, we're going to fucking go bankrupt.
Yeah, what are we going to do?
It's only going to be Channel 12, Channel 19, Channel 5. That's all it's going to be in Cincinnati. There's going to be no more Channel 9. Everybody's going to forget about fucking Al Shavakati. You know what I mean? Because Channel 9's going to be gone. He's a news reporter back in the day. I'm fucking old, Derek. We're not talking about how fucking old I am just because I know Al Shavakati.
You're right.
We're focused here. We're focused. So here I go into the fucking, I just go into regular line too. I don't jump up. I'm a person. I love, people. I can stay in line too, even though I did let everybody that I knew in front of me in line, and I apologize to everybody that was behind me. But nonetheless, I get inside. Channel 9's there. They're like, what the fuck? Our ratings are in the toilet. We really need to save this TV station and see what the fuck is going on here. And so they looked around. I saw them looking around. And they're like, hey, I saw them look at me. I'm like, what the fuck are they looking at me for? I asked Greg. I said, what the fuck are these guys looking at me for? What the fuck? And then next thing you know, they come over and they're filming me getting my tattoo. I start fucking hollering the Who Day because I love the Bengals. People might not know that, but I'm here to tell you, I fucking love the Bengals. I love them so much.
More than LSU.
Sometimes, what's that?
More than LSU.
I do love the Bengals more than LSU. I love LSU. I'm a little different than Kieran. Kieran loves the Bengals, but he loves LSU more. I love the Bayou Bengals and the Cincinnati Bengals, but Cincinnati Bengals trump them. Like we got Evan McPherson, man. He played for the Gators. I love Evan McPherson, If we get J.C. Latham, I'll love that fucker too. I love Jonah Williams, but he left. But anyway, so the news crew came in there. They saw this good-looking motherfucker. They're like, Jesus Christ, look who's in here. This guy has probably got an OnlyFans. He's probably making a shit ton of money. He could probably pay for everybody's tattoo in here because of how good-looking he is. There's no way that he can't make a shit ton of money being that fucking gorgeous. So what do? They pull the camera over there. Next thing you know, the TV station saved. They had a party yesterday. They ordered fucking cake, flowers, champagne, the good stuff. They had Cristal. They catered in Jeff Ruby's. That's what happened. The ratings went up. If you haven't seen that story, go to Channel 9's website. You can find that story. You'll find this beautiful face right on the front in my BWO shirt that I got at the Chop Shop 513. Available. Only $20. That's what I'm saying. Get you one. Maybe get on the news. So, basically, I saved the day. It was a lot of fun. That St. Patty's Day was great.
So, did you meet Zach Taylor?
I did meet Zach Taylor.
What did you say?
Taylor actually met. Well, I was just standing there, and a line.
Did he actually go? No, I think it was the other. He was like, "Chop!"
Right.
Chop.
That's why I stood still for a minute, and a line started to form. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And the next thing you know, I look, and one of the people wearing the volunteer shirts for the St. Patty's Day volunteer walks Zach Taylor up to me to get a picture taken. Next thing I know, Zach Taylor's like, hey, can I get a picture taken? And he gives his phone to someone, and we start doing the Who Day chant, and he gets a picture. He sent it to me. I had him send it to me.
Oh, yeah. That was nice.
Same thing happened with Brad Robbins. He was up there. That was the next guy in line. It was Brad Robbins.
It's nice to be courteous to your fans, John.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I have time when I'm out there for selfies and autographs and stuff like that. And also free of charge. I don't charge for it.
No.
I love the people.
Yeah.
So, and I like putting smiles on people's faces. And I don't know what it is in life that could possibly give you a bigger smile than this right here. So if you need it, that's what I'm here for. It's my destiny.
It's true.
Yeah, and I got a badass tattoo. Look at that.
Sure
It'll be
is,
with me forever.
Your first
and
one?
I also followed the instructions and did not go soak in a hot tub, so that it didn't get affected. And I lose my
speculated that Ted didn't get a real tattoo.
It's true. Maybe he didn't.
I put on my tinfoil hat like Tiger's talk, and I said,
conspiracy theory.
Did Ted Karras get a real tattoo?
You know what? I wasn't there.
He was in the hot tub.
I did leave after before he got that tattoo, so I cannot say that tattoo's real.
Yeah, job, man. Job, man. I thought I was going to win that Teddy Karras sign. Hell, man, I tried every single key and all, and it did not work.
He just won a $500 putter.
Right.
He was
minor
I won a fucking putter. And everybody's like, it's worth $500. He's like, oh, I won a putter. Oh.
No, wait.
I was like, listen, I was like, Greg, I'll take it home. The plan was I was going to take it home and get it to him. And then he found out how much. He's like, well, I'm on my way. I'll be there to pick it up. He pulled in that fucking parking lot like Smokey and the Bandit in that goddamn Ford.
No. Like my brother, who's an avid golfer, like, Greg, that's a $500 putter. Because Jeff calls me. He's like, you won the putter. Because I was tired that day. I'm sleeping. I'm like, you won the putter. I'm like, what? He's like,
I don't give a shit about no putter.
I'm like, oh, sweet.
I don't even know what he's entering for.
I didn't even know what the hell. I was with Matt Bagels and Bourbon, who's an avid golfer.
An avid golfer, and you know what? Bengals Bourbon was one ticket away, but Greg fucked him right out of it.
That's right, because he probably went right after Greg, right?
No, he went before me.
You should give that.
Yeah, I heard the Bourbon was going to get his ticket, and Greg was like, "No, let me get mine first."
Yeah, that's what
I didn't even know that happened. All right, then I guess so. Wow. No, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. It's still to be determined. But yeah, no. When I found out how much I work, I'm like, "Chop, man!" I got out of bed with I forgot to put my boxers on. No, I'm just kidding. I put my gym shorts and my jacket on. I'm like, I'll be there in a second.
Once he found out it was worth $500.
Minor detail.
Now he sleeps with it.
A minor detail.
Now he kills ducks with it. It's full.
Oh, you want to see it? You want to see it?
Everybody wants to see this putter.
Well, I showed it to everybody.
Yeah, he showed it.
$500.
He's got, what is that? Your cum?
It's a boot.
Cum brag?
Yeah, it's a protector boot.
Oh, you went and bought that?
No, it came with it.
It came with it.
It came with it.
Oh, it had some more value to it.
It came with it, you chatterhead.
All right, man. Well, I think we will end this one. We will be back on Friday at 7 o'clock instead of 3:30 with the Goodberry Brothers. Should be a wild time. Derek's going to get drunk for the first time in a long time. Right, Derek? Right, Derek?
I will see. We'll see.
Commit to it, you fucking pussy.
I'm going to start drinking. We'll see when I stop. How about that?
There you go. He'll be drunk for sure.
I should be there. I'm hoping to be there, but that just depends on.
Now,
I'm not gonna lie. If
100%.
my daughter's still in the hospital, I'll probably be there.
As you should be, and I know you've been there and not getting tons of sleep and stuff, and we've been thinking about you. We love you, man. You're like
I appreciate everybody's please continue to send good vibes and thoughts and prayers, whatever you believe in, unless it's the devil. If you're a Satanist, don't send any of those Satanist thoughts this way. But we'll take all the good vibes, the positive thoughts, and the prayers. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good vibes only, guys.
Good vibes only. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in as always.